How's it going, folks?
Hey, friends. Hey, welcome to 25 to Life with Rey and Alex, the long-awaited podcast.
Yeah, boy. Oh my gosh. Okay. How's it going, hon?
Oh, man, it's going good.
There
Are
you
you
go.
excited?
I'm nervous, but yes, I'm excited.
I can hear it in your voice.
Well, it's our first. And it's a good way of starting our first podcast.
Yeah, it is. It really is. This podcast is really, honestly, who we are. Real conversation, real life, no pretending, because I don't think anybody has it all together, and we're proof of that, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like recording this podcast right now. It's like trying to do it perfect setup, and it's never going to be. So I was like, let's just get it done. Let's try. We got the mixer on and running and figured it out and troubleshooted a little bit. So why not now?
Only took 3 takes?
3 takes, 2 practice runs with the kids, but you know what? It's great. It's great.
A flooded washing machine. No, I'm just kidding. No flooded washing machine. Don't want to put that in the universe.
Not today. Well, folks, today we're going to be doing the most anticipated or most requested podcast, I guess, or story or whatever, our life.
The story of us, I guess.
Yeah, the story
how
of
we
our
met.
life. Yeah, I don't think it's that interesting.
It's
but
not. It started with 25 cents.
A quarter. Literally a quarter.
All because I wanted candy. You know what? You know what's funny?
Tell me what's funny.
You started giving me a quarter when I asked you, and now I ask for your credit card, and you have to give it to me because we're married.
I choose to give you that quarter, and I choose to give you the credit card.
Right.
I tell myself that.
I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, our story really did start with a quarter and me asking him for one because I wanted a candy from the candy machine and I had no quarters. And a friend of mine said, "Go ask Ray." And I was like, "Who the heck is Ray?" And they pointed to him they pointed to you. And
yeah, I'm going to do this real quickly. This is back in high school. This was around
2008?
2008. Yeah, 2008.
Holy crap.
Sophomore, junior, almost junior year.
Yeah. Our sophomore year, yes. Oh, that's right. No, was it our junior?
It was something.
Into our junior year.
We were in a magnet program at Hoover.
A computer science class I absolutely did not belong in.
I was so excited when they came and promoted it for, it was in my history class. They promoted this program and they were like, if you like IT or you like computers, or you like troubleshooting, this is a class for you. So I signed up and then we started off in a small, remember this? It was 2 buildings.
It was literally a janitor's closet turned classroom.
Yeah, because it was the old
woodworking shop or
woodworking shop or mechanic shop,
something like that.
Yeah, so it's a 2-period class. We were the first class.
We were the guinea pig class.
Yeah, basically to convert this building or this room into a computer lab.
Remember we became Cisco certified because of this class?
Oh yeah, I still have that certification. So what happened was, so we joined this class. For those that don't know, I am legally blind. So I use a computer, a laptop, back in the day when laptops were still, something that
only fancy people had.
No, I wouldn't
laptops.
say fancy people. I'd just say people that, that needed it or, because it wasn't as available.
Well, I'm just saying fancy people. Only fancy people in school had laptops.
Okay, yeah.
It was high school.
Everyone's like,
college.
why does he get a laptop?
That was always the question. And you know what's funny is that wasn't even my question. My question is, why the heck was his laptop so big? Mind you, I didn't know he was legally blind. Okay.
This was I still remember. It's an HP Latitude laptop. It was, or HP Pavilion, excuse me. A 17.5 inch screen, full keyboard. That was the braddest computer I had. That was my first laptop computer. Anyways, this is not the computer geeky.
Yeah, let's not geek out. Honey.
I love that stuff. So I'm sitting in the front of the class and just minding my own business, listening to the teacher explaining what the semester is going to look like for us. And the teacher also was very enthusiastic with computers and IT, so this is why he was teaching it. But one of the things that he loved, or one of the things that he was like, he liked to collect things. And one of the things he had was a gumball candy dispenser machine. And it cost $0.25, of course. This is when you could buy things.
When candy actually only costed $0.25.
Not like $1.75 now, like, you know.
Yeah, what the heck is up with that?
Yeah, we can talk about that another day. So go ahead. You tell your end now. Sorry, I just wanted
He wanted to make sure he set the scene for you all.
Hey, I'm visually impaired. I got to paint that picture for our listeners.
So now you know we were in this class, and I honestly, I don't even remember them promoting this class. I mean, kudos to you for remembering all of that, but I don't. And I have my mom is an educator. She's been in education forever, so she was a huge advocate of putting me in this class because it was going to be great for my future. I'm sorry, Mom. But anyways, I was in there, and a group of our friends were in there because, much like Ray, they were very into tech, and they were all like, "Oh my gosh, Alex, we're all in this class together." Mind you, we were just this big group of friends, and so it didn't really feel like a class. It felt like us hanging out. And so the teacher was into the candy machines, like Ray said, and I really wanted some M&Ms because I love peanut M&Ms. And I had no quarters. And I turned to my friend at the time and was like, "Hey, do you have a quarter?" And he was like, "No, but everybody's asking Ray for a quarter." So anyways, so he had the quarters because he caught the bus. And I was like, "Okay, but who the heck is Ray?" And he points to him, and he's this really well-dressed kid, okay? Because he was good looking back then. Still is, baby. Anyways, he was really well dressed. He had this polo shirt on and this really nice watch, and he's working on his computer. And I was like, wait a minute, though. Why the heck is his screen so big? Is he blind or something? And my friend goes, "Alex, he is." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, my bad. Okay, well, then he's not going to see me come up and ask him for a quarter." And he was like, "He's blind, not deaf." And I was like, "Oh, duh." So I went up to Ray and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was like, "Hi." And he was really annoying with,
I was annoying?
No,
oh, okay.
He was annoyed with me.
Yes, and I'll say why in a minute.
So anyways, he was really short and I was like, "Ew, okay, whatever." Ugly attitude. But anyways, "I like your watch." And he looked at it and he was like, "Thanks." And I was like, "So, can I have a quarter?" And he was like, "Here." And he actually gave me 2 quarters. And I'm assuming it's because you wanted me to go away.
Just a little, because you, like you said, you were with your friends and you guys hung out in the back of the class. And for those that know, for the students that sit in the back of the class, you know what that means typically. And she was one of those students that would say, "Yeah, hi teacher, I am here, but I'm not here." But
I would say I'm physically here, not mentally here, because I don't want to be here.
And I just, every time she would say something or make a comment, or her and her friends would, just disrupt the class, and not badly, but just like, "Okay, guys, I really wanted this class. I was excited for this class." And I clearly could tell that they weren't fully. Yeah. Or at least you weren't, you were the main purpose.
Because let's be clear, they were, because they were the ones like, I won't even hide it. I totally rode in on their coattails because they knew what they were doing and I did not. And if I didn't know something, I'd be like, hey, help me out. Hey, what do I do here? And, and they would show me, or sometimes they would even just do it.
Because I even remember when we were eventually partnered up again and you were having me help you out most of the work. Anyways,
that's a story for another time, but definitely where he did all the work and I put my name on the bottom.
Hey, you made you made up for that though to me because I had to do something or ask you for a favor. So
this is true.
But so on my end, like she said, I said here I gave her 2 quarters, and I was just like, I don't feel like I was rude about it. I was just like, oh yeah, thank you, because she said my watch. I didn't know her name, but I noticed her voice really easily. Like her voice is really noticeable. Like even to this day, when you walk in the room, you can know, your voice. So I said, here you go, here's a quarter. And then she left. Right.
Yeah, I did. I walked away. I went and I didn't even it was just like, thanks. Okay. And didn't even linger to have a full on conversation with you. If I remember correctly, I don't think I talked to you till 2 days later.
Yeah, it was funny. I was telling Nathaniel this story too. I had to go pick up something from another classroom. I think it was like a test. It was a written test, or I had to get it in large print or something. And I was coming back, and
that's right. Mm-hmm. I was standing outside the classroom because I was like, ugh, I don't want to be in there. And so I had asked to use the restroom. Mm-hmm. And instead of actually going to the restroom, I walked around campus, like us slackers did. And I remember just roaming around and I was like, dang, I don't want to get caught up with the CAs. And so I went over to the classroom door and I stood outside the door because sometimes teachers would put students outside the classroom.
Yeah.
If they were being disruptive, and the campus security people would be like, okay, whatever, mm-hmm. And so anyways, I was standing out there and he comes around the corner and he's walking pretty fast. You are a fast walker to begin with.
Yeah.
And I was like, excuse me, did you not see me here? And he looks and he's like, no. And I was like, well, I want a hug. And so he gave me a hug, and it was just this really awkward interaction.
It was a side hug too, by the way.
It wasn't even a real hug. And I was
who's going to give you a real hug that honestly, I don't even understand. Are you giving me a hug? I don't even know where that came from.
You know what? They probably don't even know where that came from. I just thought you were cute, honestly.
And that's where it all comes out to be right there.
What it all comes down to is you were cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a crush on you with the single interaction, even knowing you couldn't see.
Yeah. And so, we have that interaction, class, semester goes on, and we start, I think actually,
mm-hmm.
See, it's been a while. What, 17 years now?
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
That's 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's been since we've originally started talking.
Mm-hmm. Since
we've known
each other.
So I just remember it was my English class, 6th period.
That's right. And I don't even think it was even later that day. I think it was later on that week.
Yeah.
So keeping in mind, folks, it was, I asked him for, and this isn't the true timeline, it's not a Monday through Friday thing, but it literally all happened within a few days of each other. Day 1, asked him for a quarter, went 2 days without talking. Day 3, asked him for a hug, went a couple more days without talking, and then asked him, I even ambushed him with my friends.
No, yeah, it was interesting because it was the beginning of my 6th period. And I sit in the front of the class for all my classes because of my visual impairment. And I'm getting ready to start class, and you walk in, and you're not in this class. You don't even have that class because you were.
No, even though I did have that class, but I had that class before lunch period.
Yeah.
It was our English class. Mind you, I loved my English class. And my English teacher loved me, which is why she didn't give me any crap for walking in.
Yeah. And you walked in and you asked me for my phone number.
I did. I walked straight up to him in front of everyone, not even thinking what if this guy told me no, right? The confidence. I wish I could have the confidence I had back then. I want that back because now I'm a nervous wreck all the time. But didn't even care if he told me no or not. But I walked up and I marched in there with my friends and I was like, so can I have your number?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, just to again, not to be rude, but just like I was a shy individual in high school. Even though I wrestled and stuff, the visual my blindness would make me nervous. And so this I don't want to call it affection, but whatever it was, attention,
The
excuse me. The
attention.
attention was not normal for me. So I was like, yeah, let me give you my number because you had this little small LG
That's
phone.
right. It
It's
was
like,
those phones. What was it, like an inch?
yeah, it was
1 inch
tiny.
by 2 inches screen. It was those tiny, tiny little phones.
And to reference what I had is the newest first generation iPhone
That's right.
and no accessibility at the time. Um, but it was something I was able to use. So I just said, you know what, give me a call. And I gave you my number
Mm-hmm.
and you called me and I saved you on my phone.
Yeah.
And then it just went from there.
I remember from there, I didn't call you that night, but I
No,
do
you did not.
remember calling you that Friday.
And you, it was your, um, okay, so this is where it starts blurring. And so you can help me with this.
Mm-hmm.
I know you called me, we talked,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if we went straight into like, let's date.
No.
But I do remember the conversation I had with your dad.
Okay, so we had talked. I remember calling you that Friday, and I remember us. We had to have been talking for about a week at this point
Yeah,
before the conversation with my dad.
because this was right on the edge. So I got held back a couple times because of my vision. And so I'm saying this just to reference my age at the time in high school. And it was around September because of my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had winter formal and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I talked to your dad walked in and your mom
Mm-hmm.
coming back from Winco. I remember this.
Mm-hmm.
Had groceries, everything. You were in the playroom. I can just visually see all of this going down. And you're like, "Hey dad, this is the guy. He's 18, he wants to date me." And you handed the phone over to him.
And then he goes, "What? Go help your mom with the groceries." And I remember handing him the phone and walking off. Like, that's all I remember. But mind you, you and I had been talking for about a week at this point. So now
Yeah.
the awkward 1 week interaction, the awkward conversations on the phone for 1 week, and then, hey, I've known this guy for 2 weeks and now dad here, he's 18 years old and he wants to date me. And my dad's like, "What? Didn't even really know who you were."
No.
And I think that's um kind of where, like, I mean, for me anyway, it feels like that's the epic lead up of this is how we started dating.
Yeah, it's really like where we started. It just was one of those things for me. It's like, is this real? Because I've dated a little bit, but not to the point where I was like, I say I had a girlfriend at like what you were or what you became.
Hmm.
And
I was like, what I was? Excuse me.
well, you're no longer my
I'm
girlfriend.
no longer your girlfriend, no.
Just let's just be fair. I did put a ring on it. Pretty early too, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
That
story.
Oh my gosh. But yeah.
We'll get into that a little later.
Yeah, but it was very interesting. And again, it goes back to that one moment, that one interaction, that one, just can I have a quarter? And I had a quarter, like you said, because I would ride the city bus a lot, because I had the ability to use the school buses, but I wrestled in high school. And
He was a good-looking wrestler.
okay. She gives me a lot of credit. Thank you. But anyways.
He may not have been able to see himself, but if I could give you one thing in life, and I really wish I could, give you the ability to see yourself through my eyes, because baby, I still see that 18-year-old
Well, thank
buff
you.
little wrestler.
Well, thank you. And so I'm blushing over here. So you got me all twisted.
I got him all
fluff.
tongue-tied.
So it started off with that quarter, and it's just because I had all that change because I read the bus, and I was like, "This is very, just like here's a quarter." It wasn't a big deal to me. It wasn't like trying to be like you said earlier. I wasn't being rude. I was just, I live with
It
that.
was awkward.
I live with that model though. Like I like to give. I'm a giver. That's the kind of person I am, and that's the kind of person I was raised as. And I feel like that is what has been able to grow our relationship because we give and take here.
Absolutely.
And it's very interesting and
It's been an adventure.
well, I say interesting because now we get a chance to share that not just with the listeners but with our kids
Yeah.
because our kids are getting older, not older, but
No,
they're
they're
in an
not getting
age.
that older. Okay. They're
um,
5 and 6. And if I could have anything, I'd pause them at this age.
yeah, they're very fun, and when they ask us like how you mommy and daddy met, and I get to share that, and I look back to it now, and it puts it like this warm feeling in my heart. And it's like, wow, I wish I could have I could have enjoyed that moment more because to know what that small gesture would lead into now, it's amazing.
And it all started with a quarter. Hence the name 25 to life. So
Yeah,
that's kind of where our podcast title comes from. Play on words. 25 cents is where it all started. And so that's where we got the name for the podcast, honestly.
my sentencing. And so let's say this 17 years wasn't roses and sunshine.
Sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, see, listen, you guys are gonna see me do that a lot, and this is why I love her. She knows my thoughts. She can decode what's happening in this.
I know what
brain.
he's trying to say.
So.
Sometimes I think I know what you're trying to say before you even really get it all out.
Right. Wow.
But he's right. Fast forward. It was not all sunshine and rainbows because you know what? What high school kid knows really what they want, right? Who really, well, I shouldn't say that because I'm sure that there's people out there that knew right away what they wanted to be and who they wanted to be. But for me, speaking more for me and myself and I didn't know what I wanted in life. I didn't know what kind of future I wanted, what kind of life I wanted. To kind of give you an idea of in high school, I was spoiled. My dad really spoiled me. And we actually just had this conversation with my mom, honey,
On
over
New
New
Year's.
Year's. She was sharing with Ray that she and my dad, they really spoiled me. They gave me whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, whatever I asked for, and so I felt very like I joke now and say, oh, I wish I had the confidence that I had back then. But really, it was more of a sense of, I think, entitlement. I felt entitled to everything. And I was like, hey, yeah, if you're not going to give it to me, my dad will give it to me.
Yeah.
And I really, truly feel like I lived that way. And so I think that kind of caused some issues growing up for myself. And for us a little bit. So yeah, it wasn't perfect. It really wasn't.
No, but I think that's what made our relationship and we came down to our marriage, continue our marriage, strengthen itself. We went through some, challenging times, which we may share down the road with our listeners. But one of those commitments, we were together for a while in high school, and I jumped the gun. I don't know. Well,
I wouldn't say you jumped the gun. I really wouldn't say you jumped the gun, but I would say that you scared me.
Yeah. And that's why
with the future talks, because like I said, I didn't know who I was or what I wanted.
Yeah. And
I knew I liked you.
I knew I liked you enough to give you a promise ring, and your dad was like, "What?"
Going home, and oh my gosh, I remember so vividly sitting at the dinner table, and I grew up in a home where dinner time was family time. Phones were off. The TV sometimes played in the background because my dad liked to have it on. But it was a very, hey, we sit at the dinner table as a family every day at the same time. You know, my dad made dinner for all of us. When my mom came home, she would put her stuff down, we'd eat as a family, and we would go around the table and we would talk about, hey, what happened in our days? You know, what's something that went well today? What's something that you struggled with, you know? And it sounds very funny because apparently it's not a normal thing to sit at dinner tables.
Not as much anymore.
Yeah.
I think more people are trying to get back to that, the
Yeah,
roots.
definitely. I know that that's what we do and we're trying to do with the kids. But I remember it came to my turn to speak at the dinner table. And I was like, so, mom and dad, I have something to tell you. And they were kind of nervous, looked at me like, okay. And I just remember pulling this box out with this beautiful ring. And I slid it over to my dad, like very nervously. And I gave it to him. And he was like, you're getting married to who? And I don't quite really remember everything that happened that night, but I just remember the feelings of that night. And I remember like, oh my God, no, this is not an engagement ring. This isn't mean we're going to get married. It just means that we're promising ourselves to each other. And he was like, it's the same thing. And I'll never forget, like, he wanted to talk to you. He wanted to talk to your parents. And I till this day, I don't know what you and my dad talked about outside, but I do remember shortly after your parents and you coming over and our parents having a serious conversation.
I had to sign an NDA, by the way.
I believe it. I truly believe it. And you know, Mom, I really don't know what him and Dad talked about. Until this day, I still don't know. And you know what? I don't want to know. That's between you and him. But I feel like for me, that was the true beginning to the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. You know, preparing for this, you know, telling the story, it really does start in high school for us, and it just goes from there. But I think, you know, that's where we have a good starting point for our listeners to just understand that this came from high school love or puppy love, what some people call it, whatever high school crush is. And I just want people to know that it's those things exist, and it's amazing. So, anyways,
My dad's calling you.
Yeah, he's like, okay, hey,
I hear you talking about me.
That's it.
So yeah. Anyways, but no, seriously, he's probably looking down on us right now and saying how far we've come. Because, like I said, I really don't know what you guys talked about, and man, our relationship it wasn't a perfect beginning. You know, it was rocky.
No, yeah, because there's a lot of stuff. You know, just normal high school drama. You know, and then the ring. You know, could have caused some nerves and some scares. And we did have a moment in our senior year for sure. We went to high school dances and stuff like that and did activities. You were the one that helped me get out of my shell with my blindness, you know.
Which is funny because you were a wrestler.
I was. And that was one of the biggest leaps that I took in high school, was to join a sport. And it was, you know, thanks to my friend that showed me that, yes, they have accommodations for blind people for wrestling. And, you know, I was like, oh, really? And it was, yeah, that's when I gave it a shot. And it was really nice. I wasn't good. I wasn't good at all. You know, I did do all right, but I was not, you know,
not world champion.
Not world champions, you know, state national champion, stuff like that. But
you
I
were
did
in my book.
Thank you. But, you know, going out with somebody was interesting for me or new to me.
Interesting. I was interesting. Yes, I mean, obviously
you're the most interesting woman in the world to me. Okay. And, but also being able to deal with my blindness. We went out to football games, and that was a big thing for me. And I might share my story a little bit more in my blindness journey, my vision loss journey. But being able to go out and hang out with you and our friends and socialize and, you know,
You could have fooled me that wasn't normal for you because you were a social butterfly.
I feel like everyone tells me that. And I feel like, yes, I knew people, but it's just like, I don't know. It was hard because what you say, my social butterfly showed, but the introvert in me was like, oh my gosh, all the time, every time.
That never, it's funny because that never led on. I would just see you in these crowds, because I mean, now I'm finding out that I'm the one that put you in these situations, but I mean, I'm glad that I did, because I feel like you really shined, um, I I remember having a conversation with my mom and dad, and they were just like, "Hey, is this what you really want in your future? Like, he's blind, he's not going to be able to do things for himself." And I was like hell he is. He's going to be able to do things for himself because I need him to do things for me. And like, go outside and go get my ice and put my ice in my cup.
In the freezing weather.
In the freezing cold weather in the rain.
Yeah.
But, I remember thinking to myself, just because you're blind, you're not broken.
Right.
And I feel like I truly lived that with you in high school. And I know that my parents would get frustrated with me because I wouldn't do things for you sometimes, when you would come over.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like the same a little bit with my mom. It's more of a culture thing too, but adding the blindness, the disability as well. But you're right. You helped me again understand how to live my life with my disability.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome. And some of that, did come with some hurt though. And we did break up. Let's just be honest. We did. We separated. Did. I think you're like, I don't want to feel like a caged bird.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a term.
That's exactly, I think, what I said. I don't want to feel like a caged bird.
Oh my gosh. I remember you telling me that. Wait. I remember you telling me that moment. I got to share this. Is I live my life a lot by images in my mind. I was sitting at the bus stop, Route 34, and we were just talking. It was a serious talk. I think we even missed the bus because it stopped it. We just could not. We were in a deep conversation.
We didn't get up.
No, we didn't. And the bus left us. And so you're like, yeah, I just can't feel like living my life committing to you at this moment and it being like a bird in a cage and not being able to be set free. And at that moment, it was like, wow, really?
God, I was so mean.
No, it wasn't being mean. It was being honest and being, like you said, having that courage, back in that confidence, that's the word.
That confidence, that honesty, that brutal honesty. Man, I wish that I can have my high school self come give me some pep talks.
I think a lot of us would say the same. You say that, or we would like to have those conversations with our high school selves to give ourselves, our current selves, our past some motivation too. So.
Yeah, but no, yeah. So I remember us breaking up, and I think to kind of be clear, it wasn't that I felt like you were holding me, like your blindness was going to hold me back. I think just the relationship itself, like you really were my first real boyfriend and my first real relationship. Like you would come over for family dinners. You went on family trips with us. Like, yeah,
because I want to be clear, this did not happen just within a year. This was 2 years, and I did go on trips with you, and I went. This is why I was serious. This is why that promise ring came out, because I was going. I was meeting family in SoCal, and going on Rodeo Drive.
Yeah,
with your family. See, I should have known that.
Should have known then I was spoiled and high maintenance. But no, seriously, like, so keeping in mind, this was us in high school. This is like our relationship throughout high school, we grew and we flourished as a couple. We grew and we flourished. But I felt like you and I still had more growing up to do, and I feel like that was where that conversation came from. I knew that I was not ready. I wasn't ready to be married and
Yeah.
have a commitment like this.
This was I remember. So this was right around the time of formal.
No, it was senior prom.
Senior prom.
It was right before senior prom,
Yep.
right at the end of senior year. I think we had came back from what was it? The Disneyland trip, or was that? It was after the Disneyland
grad
trip.
night?
Mm-hmm.
No. It was
I
right
think
before it.
Right before it.
Because we still went to grad night together.
That's right. We still did senior prom together. We still did grad night together. We still were walking partners in high school. So it wasn't so much. So to be clear, we broke up in the sense like we were no longer a dating couple,
Mm-hmm.
but we still were friends. And I think throughout high school, you became my best friend.
Oh yeah.
And that friendship meant so much to me. And I know you were hurt, and that was it was hard for you. And I mean, it was hard for me too.
You didn't show it.
I did not. Like I said, I was spoiled, entitled, and bratty. But no, seriously, we stayed friends.
Yeah, you helped me through getting me through econ.
I will never forget.
I had
on
to
the
do
grad night bus, on the way to grad
entries.
night, I was helping him fill in his journal entries for our econ class, because senior year we matched our schedules up that we took every single class together. And I remember I was doing really well, which, you know what, I still a little salty that you got a better grade in photo than I did.
Hey, I know how to paint the image, okay?
And so anyways, but yeah, I remember helping you through that, and I remember us still going through all the senior stuff together at the end of senior year and doing senior ditch day. And what was that big rally at the end of the year that all seniors did? I remember we went to that. And being walking partners, and we remained friends through the breakup. Let's keep in mind.
Yeah, we still stayed in contact. It was a little. We were friends, and we did all that, like you said, and we went into college.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it started getting a little bit harder.
Yeah, definitely. First semester in college was quite an adventure.
Yeah, because we graduated, going to college.
Mm-hmm. Summer, I think that summer is when it really got hard for each of us.
Yeah, because at one point in college, I said, we really need this is not, it's not healthy. Mm-hmm. I think it was getting to that point where it was like, hey, I need to take a break. I need to figure out myself too.
He said he needed space from me.
I needed some space. And you respected that to a point.
To a point.
And then I was like, we need to stop communications for a little while, and we did.
I didn't like that.
You did not at all.
You were my best friend.
Yeah, you found ways to
bug you,
to communicate me and finally have conversations with you.
But so we did. That summer right before college, we really stayed separated. We really was very minimal. I don't even think we really talked much at all that summer. And then first semester of college, we ran into each other a couple of times on campus, and we were cordial, and you were not having any of my shenanigans. I would go and I would be like, hey, hi, and I'd give you a big hug, and you'd give me this side awkward hug. And I knew that there were hard feelings there, and I didn't care. And yeah, we just went on this journey of self-discovery. And I was working with my dad at the time, and he would keep me busy at work and juggling between school full time. And I say working, but I really wasn't working. Like, let's be honest. Dad, I worked for my dad.
You learned how to manage an office, though.
I did. That is one thing he gave me. He did give me that skill. He taught me how to do bookkeeping and manage manage finances in this sense for work, not personal, because I have no sense and no concept of personal finances at all. I like just spend. But anyways, so around Christmas time, my family took this big trip, and I remember you and I really weren't talking still by this time. We weren't really texting anymore still. We still weren't at all close. And my dad had passed away over Christmas break right before our spring semester in college. And that was like a huge hit for me.
Yeah.
And I remember calling you. And I think that that's kind of where our relationship picked back up a little bit.
Yeah, I think at that moment is when, well, no, the relationship started picking back up a little bit during that Christmas break.
That's right, because I think he called you over.
Yeah, I went over.
That's right. Yeah. So before my dad passed away, he did call Ray over. He was like, "Hey, I need help with computer," and then he let Ray spend the night. Mind you, he let Ray spend the night and sleep in my room. Up until this point, my dad did not let us stay together.
We were both adults at that time.
We were at this point. I was 18. You were what, 19?
19, yeah.
And I remember him calling you. Well, he asked me to call you because, I mean, we were still, like I said, we were still friends. We really weren't talking as much. And he had asked you.
I think he was the one trying to build the relationship again, to be honest with you.
He was like, I need Ray back. But yeah, so after that, you had came over and our friendship kind of reignited. I don't want to say our relationship because we still weren't.
We weren't
there, you know. In full transparency, I did date other people.
Yeah,
you know,
I was talking to other people too.
Date other people. We both did have other relationships. So at this point, I was talking to somebody else, and I kind of think that's why my dad called you over, because he was like, "I need Ray back." Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, when he passed away, and I called on you, you know, you didn't hesitate to be there for me, and. No. I love you and appreciate you so much for that, because I feel like in a non-weird way, you really stepped into that role of figuring out how to help take care of me.
Yeah, that was a big moment for us, because that was, like I said, it was a hard, dark challenge for us. You know, your dad passing and our relationship and us dating other people and still new to college. Let's talk about that. You know, going to college was crazy. It's like you get this new sense of freedom that you didn't have, and juggling all this real life situation. You know, my vision was it changed a lot in college to, you know, compared to what it is or what it was in high school and what it is now. You know, it's crazy. You know, I wasn't really good at school, you know, and so having all that to deal with, you know, and trying to know what my life is going to be like, if it's going to be with you or if it's going to be with somebody else, or what's my career going to be like, you know, and
what kind of career were you going to have?
Yeah. And, you know, now you know, and I don't mean to point it, but that was your moment in life that it was just like, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. Where do we go from here?
Yeah. And I feel like that was a turning point. You know, you really stepped in and took care of me, but I don't feel like I was still ready to be in a relationship, to be in an honest, open relationship, you know, and which is funny because I was dating other people at the time.
Yeah. And I knew that. And
you still took care of me.
I don't know why. But I think that goes back to that. It's like just giving. And I took, because you pushed me still. You still pushed me to like do better, not just to be on Social Security, because I was, you know, that's one thing I was on with.
I remember you had an interview opportunity.
Yeah. And you took me to it.
Uh-huh. I do remember that.
Yeah. And that interview opportunity basically led to where I am now. Mm-hmm. Because if I didn't go to that interview, I would have never met, you know, the agency that I'm working at now, and be able to do the things that I'm doing now and be able to provide for the family I have, which is with you.
Yeah.
And so, it's very, I'm I'm
I feel
gonna
like this really just is a testament, and it speaks to not all relationships are perfect. Like
no
we said in the beginning, what'd you say? Not all rainbows and or
sunshines and
roses and
roses,
sunshines, but
whatever it
it's
is.
rainbow. I don't know. Anyways, but it was not a perfect relationship. It was a very bumpy beginning, but I wouldn't have it any other way, because
Mm,
I think through all those twists and turns of college, it did lead into us eventually getting married.
well, I dropped out of school.
Hmm.
I think you stayed in a little longer than me.
I did, but the death of my dad really had it took its
That's
toll
all.
on me.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that later, but his death really just like I shared in the beginning, I was spoiled. I was a daddy's girl. Like,
Yeah.
he gave me, I did not know the word no.
Yeah.
And him passing away was one of the biggest hits of my life, and it really set me on a trajectory course that was not at all in the plans.
No. No. No.
Neither
And it's
one of
something that
us.
we don't. None of us grow up to like. Oh, I'm gonna just deal with my parents passing away after high school.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm gonna deal with a girlfriend or an ex or someone, my best friend, losing somebody. That's not in. It's not in the book. It's not something they teach you. But what it
There's
did
no
teach
handbook.
us, is lean on each other, because we did. We found each other.
Mm-hmm.
I started a career.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to do, but I started a career. I had an opportunity. I started making some real income,
Mm-hmm.
and something that we really enjoyed was watching Bones.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I want to enjoy my life, and I want to go see the world. I don't want to just stay in my room, as a blind disabled person, that is still working.
Mm-hmm.
I want to use this paycheck that I'm earning and go see the world.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you
I didn't
asked
have
me to
no
come
one.
with you.
I didn't think anyone else other than my family. I was like, who can I ask to see the world with?
Let's be
That
clear,
wouldn't.
though. I loved Bones too.
That's what I said. I said we loved watching
okay.
Bones.
Just making sure. I didn't hear the part. I heard I love Bones.
And so the Jeffersonian.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a real thing.
It's not a real place.
Thing, but I thought it was.
Not a real place.
To be honest, I thought it was. But Jeffersonian is based off of Washington D.C.
The Smithsonian Museums.
The Smithsonian Museum. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna ask you. And I said, hey, you want to go to D.C.? I'll pay for it.
And of course, I said yes. He said I'd pay for it. I was working at the time. Mind you, through my twists and turns, I did eventually drop out of school. I got a job, and I had a pretty good job at the time. So then when you asked me, I was actually dating someone else.
Yeah.
And this trip to DC was either going to make or break mine and yours relationship, in the sense that it was going to make or break our friendship. And this is either we're going to just be nothing more than friends, or we are going to make a relationship work out of this. And I think that that's where that relationship and this trip really just took us on this journey. And it was like, no, this is what we want out of life together.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my gosh, I knew you were in a relationship, but I forgot that this relationship ended after DC, and our relationship began.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to a point where it was like, okay, I want to work with you to see if this relationship is going to go further, because a DC trip was, in your mind, and what you tell me all the time, the best trip ever. And for me, I was like, I screwed up.
Every time you tell the story, you remember all the things that went wrong, okay? And I remember all the things that went right.
I remember sleeping in the Baltimore airport because our plane was delayed, and our Airbnb
it was delayed. What, like 12 hours?
Yeah, we literally were delayed. We from Fresno into Baltimore. I think we went to Dallas. But
yeah, we
way,
had to fly from Fresno to Dallas to Baltimore, and that was not the original plan.
Yeah, and we had to stay in the airport for a little while because our check-in for our Airbnb was not until like 4 p.m., 5 o'clock.
Mhm.
And I remember, having to wash up in the Baltimore airport, sleeping a little bit, eating some food there, and then figuring out how to get into DC. Again, remind you, neither one of us like really traveled independently alone without our family.
Yeah.
And I had
Keep in mind, my family did travel, but it was not much like plane travel. We drove. We did a lot of road trips. So this was our first real, for me anyway, and I'm sure for you as well. This was our first real trip of like, hey, let's get on a plane and go somewhere.
Yeah. So and this DC story could be forever its own podcast, but long story short, we did some Amtrak, we did some Ubers when things were decent, and just things were just little hiccups here and there, and it's like, man, this is not working out. We didn't argue, but we just had like a little spats, and it's like, oh really? And then,
but the thing is, through each of those, and I wouldn't even call them spats. I think it was just challenges on it. Like any trip has its own challenges, right?
They tell you this, don't they?
And that they say go on a trip with someone and see if you come back still wanting to be with each other, then it's going to work out. But it really was like, I feel like we discovered that through this trip and through these different little challenges.
A week-long trip, by the way.
Yeah, a week-long trip. But we talked through these challenges. And I think that that's honestly, when I talk about communication, and it could be its own podcast later, but when I truly talk about communication, there's no such thing as over communication, because I think that that's really where we shine, because we talk a lot. Obviously. We started a podcast because we have so much to say. But no, I think when we came back from that trip, I knew that I knew that what we started way back in high school is what I wanted. It was like, girl, why did you take all these twists and turns? It was right in front of you all along. He is right in front of you. And I think that that's where this really, this relationship really blossomed. And
yeah, I remember you moving out after, you breaking up with your previous relationship, you moving into what we call
it the halfway house, only because I lived in this apartment only for 6 months. So literally only lived in it for 6 months.
Transition.
And basically. It was a transition place into yours and mine.
Yeah. Because you said, no, I'm not going to have you move in.
I remember that. I remember saying, okay, if we're going to make this work, then we're going to try and do this a little bit the right way.
Yeah.
Because it still didn't turn out the right way. But I knew that, like, okay, if we're going to make this work, I don't want to live with you right away. I want to live on my own. So I did. I had a little apartment that I lived in by myself. I remember you worked out of town.
Yeah.
At the time you would go back and forth.
I would have to go catch the Amtrak to go down to Bakersfield and do some work down there.
And you were gone a couple days a week. And I remember when you would come back, you would spend a couple days with me. Then you go back home with your mom and dad, and then you take off again. And I really remember us saying, okay, we're gonna do this. This is what we want. And I told you, then we need to seriously start thinking about marriage.
Yeah, because it was around New Year's, because I remember our feast. And my parents are like, do you even live
Chinese
here?
Feast.
Yeah, it's like, do you even, because I went home and it's like, I had to grab some clothes, and they're like, do you even live here? And then it's like,
your parents had to wonder, like, hey.
It's like, at that moment I was like, oh shoot, I moved in without knowing I moved in.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were like, do you even live here? And so that was the moment where it's like, okay, you said are we going to make, if we're going to make this happen, we got to do it the right way.
Yeah. And I remember, again, like I said, I only lived in this apartment for 6 months. My time at this apartment was coming to an end. And I was like, look, if we're going to make this work and we're going to move in together and we're really talking about marriage, then we need to find a place together. If not.
So no. Don't do that to yourself. We were forced to move out, or you were forced to move out because of some, just things. and not to really your fault, but there is bad landlords out there. I don't want to drag it down the muds, but so you had to leave more suddenly than we expected, and the new place was a little bit more, a lot more.
A lot more.
And
it was double what I was paying for my little one bedroom.
I look back at your one bedroom and I was like, man, that was still a lifetime.
Oh man, I loved that little place. And you're right.
Awesome.
You're right. I shouldn't do that to myself.
No.
But it was time for me to leave this place, and it was like, okay, are we gonna do this though?
Yeah.
Like I really remember being like, okay, are we moving in together? Because hey, it's time to figure this out.
Yeah,
be serious.
For everyone, it's like I'm still, I grew up, having some faith, but you grew up in the church, and we were not living with the way that we should live, and this is where that moment that crossword came, and at that moment, it's like, okay, I do really love you, and I do want to have a relationship with and marry you.
And I remember us saying, okay, we're gonna have this. I remember sending out save the dates, digital save the dates to family, and what was it, like a week later we found out we were pregnant.
Yeah. I remember having the conversation with my parents, letting them know we're gonna get married. Same with your mom.
Yeah, I remember us sitting down and letting them know, like, hey, this is it. We're really getting married, and then
and by the way,
we're pregnant. And it's gonna speed things up because we really wanted.
It wasn't the pregnancy that made us make that decision.
No,
let's just get that
Let's be clear. Yeah, it wasn't the pregnancy that made us get married. It was we were planning to get married. And then we planned. God laughed and. Our son came along.
Our gift.
Our blessing. Our beautiful blessing.
And so, that's when we started, our marriage.
Our life together. Then what was it? Like a year and a half later, our daughter came. And we'll share more like this. There will be more stories to come about our children and the birthing story and all of that.
Yes.
And all that good stuff. But no,
almost losing you.
This is just us, introducing our story to everyone. It's a story that everybody asks for, and we can go on forever.
Yeah, because there's so many little avenues and alleyways that we could have went with in those. I was like, again, that DC trip was an amazing trip.
I think we need to make that its own podcast.
Yeah, and
its own story time.
Story time. But at the end of the day, I love you, babe. And I wouldn't change anything.
And I think that this story, because there's so much to unpack.
Gosh. I can just oh my gosh, I just talk about the table, the dating as a friend, like my first time taking you out, and oh my gosh, there's so many funny moments. So many moments to unpack here, but this is just kind of a quick highlight of this storyline, an hour-long storyline. But and honestly, this storyline. It's why we started this. The story of us and why we started this podcast. So yeah. So for all those listeners, I hope you enjoyed this moment with us and letting us, open up a little bit and just show that. Real good things can happen. It just you have to go through those challenges sometime, and it's okay. And we hope that you continue to listen and come back. We have some great stories to continue to share. Some of our own inputs, some of maybe even some of your suggestions, things that you want to hear from us, or our thoughts, or whatnots. So looking forward to it. Thank you very much. Hope you guys come back for our next episode. What are we going to do next episode? What is it going to be about?
Our next episode.
We're going to do telephone etiquette.
Yeah, we're going to highlight a little bit about that. Oh man, but no, in all seriousness, thank you for trusting us with your time and your hearts. This is our story, and we do look forward to the next episode because man, do we have some stuff to share and unpack with you all. So we hope that you enjoyed this. We hope that um, it gives you a little bit of an understanding of who we are and how much we like to talk, because more me than him, but um, yeah. So anything else to add, honey?
Nope, but thank you.
Thank you guys. Yeah. And if this episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to come back and listen to the next one, because next time we're going to be getting into what real life looks with us. So thank you.